Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host tonight, Logan Landers. And joining me to talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes is my guy, my co-host for the Unscripted Sports Podcast, Jay McLovin. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, what's up, Big Logan, man? Loving talking about ready for this basketball game tonight, but most importantly, let's talk some Ohio State football.
Whew. Hey, talking about the Buckeyes, man. We're talking about a very good program, ranked number 2 coming into the season. So we got a lot of weight on our shoulders. I know all the fans out there are hoping we give them a good review. So before we start though, you gotta stay tuned. We gotta thank you guys first off so much for liking us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, just for tuning in. It means the world to us. Also, check out our podcast if you haven't already. We're available on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. Either way you listen to your podcast, we are over there with some great content, whether it's great team previews like we're doing right now, Legends interviews. You know, we did a bunch of draft stuff for the 2020-2021 NFL draft, so go check that out as well. And like I said, we got a team preview. We're talking about the number 2 team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Jay, I'm letting you kick things off, my man. What you like about this team?
Well, what I like about it is where are they going to go now? Now that Justin Fields has left the team and he's gone on to play with the Chicago Bears, where do we go? Because we got choices, Logan. I should say we because I'm not an Ohio fan. I like the team, but that's a long story. Anyway, back to what matters. They got 3 good quarterbacks, right, to take over or hopefully take over. They got Stroud, Jack Miller III, and then they got this new freshman, Kyle McCord, who's a 5-star recruit and 3-time state champion, who just enrolled in January. So I think they got it's a quarterback competition is what I like. I like to see where we're going to go from here because they got some big shoes to fill in Justin Fields' shoes. So I like to see where we're going to go. I think they're going to, they're ranked like what, 2 or 3, I believe it is in the division. So they're already starting at the top. So now it's theirs to lose. So I would say I think their defense has got some issues, not a whole lot, not major issues, but definitely that secondary. But we'll get more into that as we go on. But what I'm liking that quarterback controversy. Where do we go from here?
I mean, you're right, man. That is just the big question overall when it comes to this team is who is going to inherit the keys to this shiny new car at Ohio State? Because you had Justin Fields, an absolute superstar, who transferred from Georgia, came over to Ohio State, and just turned that program and flipped it. Just did tremendous things, and now he's moving on to the NFL with the Chicago Bears. So who's going to take over? It's going to be interesting to see, Jay, because we're going to have a competition in spring practices going into this season. And with Ryan Day, who we know is very offensive-minded, he's just probably salivating at any of the options that he's got in front of him, like the guys you mentioned, man. So we'll see who's going to ultimately lead out and, help the pack out this year and help out Ohio State. But they got a lot of good weapons, man. They really do, whether it's, whether it's on the wide receiving core, the running back. Their offense, I think, is good. Like you said, they obviously, being a top team in the nation, they've lost some guys to the draft, but that's just how the story goes. The defense is right there too, Jay. It really is. And, man, just looking at the schedule, it's not that difficult, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've talked about a few teams that they're facing. I mean, they're facing Oregon. They're facing Indiana, Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State as well. But, I mean, this is a very, I would say, easy schedule for this program. I think they should just run through these teams.
But Logan, here's the key point though. It's almost kind of like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And with their schedule being easy, it makes it very easy for them to slip out of the 4 spot, the 1 through 4 spot. Because if you don't have a competitive schedule, if you lose 1 or 2 key games, for example, if they lose to Oregon or if they lose to Indiana, because maybe they didn't take the game seriously, 1 or 2 losses can slide them right out of there and be fighting for the 5th or 6th spot or 7th spot, depending on how far they fall. So with an easy schedule, comes great responsibility to not take these teams lightly, because if you do, you're going to find yourself out of the playoff contention real fast and quick and in a hurry.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, like I said, I think that obviously they shouldn't be cocky like they probably have been, previous seasons with the great team they've had. But with a new quarterback and a lot of, kind of new pieces on both sides of the ball, I think personally, Jay, I want to hear your thoughts about this. Mm-hmm. I think this team's going to be vying, of course, for the Big Ten championship first and foremost. What do you think about that?
If they're vying for the Big Ten championship, yeah.
They're going to get there?
Yeah, okay. I really don't, if anybody's going to beat them in terms of their schedule, like I said, because we talked about their schedule is not very hard. The only one that really truly is going to give them any kind of serious opposition would be Oregon. Maybe Indiana puts something in there, but I don't think Indiana's got enough to carry that tank. So I think Oregon, if anybody's going to do anything to them, it's going to come from Oregon. And I'll tell you, it wouldn't take much to slip in there and get a win and slip out of there and have Ohio reeling. I mean, honestly, because if you lose to the toughest one of your whole lineup, it ain't going to take much. So they can get the Big Ten, but they're going to have to be careful that Ohio doesn't slip up. I mean, Oregon doesn't slip up in there and take one from them.
Yeah, I think they are going to be vying for that Big Ten championship at the end of the day. But the big question, though, and the one that all the fans want to know is, Jay, do you think that Ohio State is going to make it back to the college football playoff this year? Or are they going to slip out? What do you think? Are they going to be in the top four? Are they going to just miss out, or you think they're going to have a big collapse?
I think that outside of the quarterback unknown, the rest of the team is very solid, honestly. And I think they have the team to get back to the playoffs. But for them to get to the playoffs, it's going to come down to those quarterbacks and how will they perform, because they're unproven. I mean, they've relied on Justin Fields for so long that they haven't had to even look and see what they got in the wings. So it's going to come down to that. Like I said, it's going to come down to the field general. Can one of these guys pick up where Fields left off and continue the great tradition and passing and throwing the ball? Because they got the running backs, they got the wide receivers. I mean, they got big play wide receivers. There's no doubt about it. Chris Olave, is a big play receiver who basically had 16 point. I think he was a big play receiver who had a knack for impacting OSU. So you got him, and then you got Garrett Wilson, Mike. You have some guys there. Wilson, I think he had like 16.8 yards a carry. So you got plenty of wide receivers there to throw the ball to. You got a great tight end who's in good shape, and Jerry Ruckert had a productive year last year. So you got the wide receivers. You got everything you need. You just don't know what you're getting out of that quarterback position. But if they can get anywhere near Justin Fields' caliber in that quarterback position, or even just a good field general that can get the ball around and not get frazzled or throw interceptions and turn the ball over, if you can get that type of quarterback, then yeah, absolutely they can make it back to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think too, a thing that helps them out is they're getting Master Teeth III. He's coming back. And that's a solid running back you got there, someone who's been with the program for a while, who knows how this all works. And like you said, the QB is kind of a big question. Who's going to be the starter and how are they going to pan out? But at least they're getting some help, though, because Ohio State's got some of the better offensive linemen in the country who are still on the program. So that's helping out a lot. Of course, they lost a few guys to the draft on that line. But I think that overall, oh, man, I don't know how to feel about this one, Jay, because I've been debating on this for a while now. Because they have the talent to be in that college football playoff. But, and I hate to say it for all the Buckeye fans out there, I think that they're just going to miss out. When I mean just miss out, I think 5 or 6 is where they're going to be ranked. I mean, just there. Because we've talked about, the SEC is stacked this year. There's a lot of good teams. Cincinnati's coming back, Texas A&M. Both of those guys got stuff to prove. And then, of course, you got, Georgia is a big threat. Alabama's a lock already. Come on. But I think that Ohio State is just going to miss out, man. That's just my personal thought. I couldn't commit fully. I'm sorry. But I think this is just a team. It's a good program. Don't get me wrong. But overall, I just think the loss of Justin Fields is just going to hurt them a little bit too much. But by no means do I think this team is going on a downward spiral or anything like that. They've got a good head coach. They still got a lot of really good pieces. And they very well could make the college football playoff. They very much could. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit. But personally, I see them getting ranked 5th or 6th at the end of the year. So that's my thoughts. So do you have any final words you'd like to say about this Ohio State Buckeye program before we sign off for the night?
I just think whoever inherits the keys to this offense is going to benefit from a sturdy pass protection. I think they got great weapons. I think they got great pass protectors in all directions. It's an extremely quarterback-friendly head coach. I think they have all the keys they need. The only thing that worries me about them is their secondary was exposed in some games last year. The defense is still allowing 97 yards of rushing, 3.4 yards of attempts. So their rushing is doing great, but they got exposed last year in their secondary. And so if they can shore up that secondary a little bit on defense, and then if that quarterback can step up, I mean, look, they got one of the guys was the freshman was a 3-time state champion. So
right,
they got talent there in the quarterback position. And you know what? Let's be honest. Ohio can develop those guys. They have a quarterback.
They really can.
And I think if you have a quarterback-friendly head coach, that's going to go ahead a long ways to develop your quarterback who's coming in that position. So I think it's going to come down to Oregon, the home date with Michigan State, Minnesota, as an opening day tester to see how that quarterback does. I mean, they got time. The schedule gives the one thing about the schedule is it gives that quarterback, a couple of easy games to really just kind of get his feet wet and see how the offense works, see how the speed works. And then after that, he should be ready for Oregon. He should be ready for Michigan State and so forth. And if that's the case, I'm telling you, Logan, there's no reason why these guys can't be in that top. So be mindful. I'm telling you, hey, I know you're saying 5 or 6. And I know you believe that.
Right.
But I'm telling you, hey, listen, this early schedule and because the schedule they give them – Oregon is the barometer, okay?
Yep.
The early games is how they play. But if they play well and solidify their quarterback, whichever one of the 3 they go with, if they get that solidified before they hit Oregon, and if they can beat Oregon handily, then I'll tell you right now, man, sky's the limit for that team.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jay. If they can, because I think Oregon is going to be, they're one of their top tests for this season, and they're facing a few good teams this year. And, last year that everyone got on them for, that a few of the games got canceled because of COVID, especially kind of later on in the season. And they were getting kind of knocked for even getting into the college football playoff, But then what they do? They came and they whooped up on Clemson. And Justin Fields had a phenomenal day. Yeah. So they've got some swagger to them. They've got confidence. Like I said, I think they're going to rank 5 or 6 at the end of the day. But they very well could be a top 4 team in the nation, and it would not surprise me at all. I'm just a little bit, I wouldn't say uneasy. I'm just not 1,000% sold on whoever the new quarterback is going to be and how they're going to do. Because I say it's fine. Early in the year, like you said, Jay, they got some warm-up games. They got some easier games. But how is this guy going to do, whoever the QB is, how are they going to do late in the season when they've been getting hit all year, when they're hurt, when they're bruised, when they're battered? And they're going to, face up going for a championship game. That's when someone's character comes out. That's when someone's grit comes out. We know Justin Fields has it. We know what he did. And we know he's going to do great things in the NFL. But what about this replacement? What are they going to do? It remains to be seen. But we'll have to see, man. I think Ohio State's going to have a good program this year. I think they're going to finish solid. And they definitely are going to be, a contender for many years to come with the way they got this program set up. So I'm looking forward to it, my man. Well, hey, if you guys have enjoyed this video here tonight talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Also, if you have not already, go and check out our podcast. You just type in 100 Yards Football, whether you're on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. If you have an Alexa or a Google Home device, you can just say, hey, Alexa or Google, play 100 Yards of Football, and guess what? We'll pop up. We got great team previews, legends interviews, guys who have been to the NFL, College Hall of Fame, former players, coaches, you name it, we got them on the show. Also, check out our old draft profile, see if See if we predicted the teams right, how we think they're going to do in the NFL coming into this year, and a whole lot more because we upload every single day. So we always got something for you in little 15 minutes to an hour-long shows, just depending on what we're talking about or who we're talking to. So go ahead and check us out, and thank you guys so much for doing that. For my co-host tonight, Jay McLovin, like I said, the co-host for the Unscripted Sports Podcast. You can see me and Jay talk more sports, not just football. We talk about everything, basketball, baseball, tennis, hockey. We talk about everything over on Unscripted, man. Check us out Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere. We're over there, man. We're doing great stuff over there. Love talking sports with you, Jay. Thank you, man, so much for coming on, talking Ohio State, OHIO with me tonight, my man. Hey, guys, have a great weekend. Have a fun time, man. Have a good weekend this week, and we'll be talking to you soon next week with some more great content.